Help them figure what they want out of life. But you know everything it come with a price. Wanna maximize your money and time. Might have to take the uncommon advice.
That's the next piece. That leads us into blue chip or bust.
So, Nate, on Sunday, what is considered now probably one of the biggest sports events that is happening in the U.S. In the last 2 years. Formula One.
Cricket?
Cricket. Yeah, cricket. Cricket is growing, or polo. But Formula One. Formula One is one of the biggest events that's happening in the U.S., and I think I was talking with our camera guy, Rob. He was telling me it's gotten more views than the Super Bowl, which is like crazy because the Super Bowl is watched. I know people that across country. I have a buddy who plays for the EFL, and he says his team rents out a theater to watch the Super Bowl. Like overnight, it's like 4 a.m. there, and they're all up watching the Super Bowl with their families in this theater. So it's crazy how it's grown, and one of the big reasons it's grown is the docuseries they dropped back in 2018, 2019, Drive to Survive, which just blew up Formula One, and it is what it is today, and it's going to continue growing. I think right now Formula One, if you saw just in Miami, every big celebrity name you can think of was there. Tickets are like 1,000 plus if you want to get in. Tickets were sold out, I think, day one they came on. So it's like all this event has drawn so much attention due to one thing. Someone who decided, I'm going to make a docuseries on people driving really fast cars.
Well, the fast cars were driving. What they did is they're leveraging the docuseries to grow to expose more people, right? So they understand that, hey, look, we've already got an audience and people that love the Formula One. We know that it's not as big in America as it probably is in some of the other countries, right? Because am I wrong on that? I don't know.
No, you're not.
So,
it's big like Monaco and stuff.
And so they know if they come to the U.S., we're obviously, we kind of dominate the sports that dominate, right? You've got the football, baseball, basketball are kind of the real big ones that control a lot of the media and everything else in regards to like advertising dollars and everything that comes in. And so it's just they basically said, hey, how do we do something different? Which is kind of football. They do the Hard Knocks thing every year.
Correct.
And so what they did is they take that and they do it in this Formula One thing, and all of a sudden docuseries are big anyways on Netflix and growing. And all these other, streaming platforms. So it exposes them to these people. Then they start talking about it and everything else. So
yeah, and one thing it was the perfect timing too.
Yeah.
Because the racing industry was going downhill. Like 2016, I think start of 2016, you saw NASCAR was starting to die off. And NASCAR, I think, did something similar to what Formula One and doing a docuseries with Bubba Wallace.
Oh, Talladega Nights?
I'm not sure.
No, you don't know. You haven't seen Talladega Nights, the movie?
But
what?
But with I don't know if I should feel.
You ain't first, you're last.
I don't know if
You ain't
I
first,
should feel young
you're
or
last.
I should feel old.
No, don't talk about that.
Our camera guy's literally back there behind me. He's like just blowing up. But
if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing.
But what was funny though, in 2016, NASCAR road racing, not just NASCAR, racing starts taking a downhill. And NASCAR was one of them, and they tried to do something similar. They did something with Bubba Wallace, and it didn't do anywhere near as Formula One. And then Formula One in 2018, this guy's like comes out, he's like, oh, I want to do one team. And they sit down together, and I was reading the article. They sit down together, and they're talking about how he's like, one of his producing partners was like, let's go big or go home. He's like, let's do all of them. Let's try to get as many teams as want to jump in as possible. And they did. And that just launched it, and the best part was it launched right in the pandemic when everybody was just sitting at home doing absolutely nothing. Season 5 dropped. They got renewed for Season 6, so that's coming up here soon. But it's growing. Last year, 2 races, Austin, Texas, and Miami. And now you got Austin, Texas, Miami, and Las Vegas, which was funny. Last year I was at Las Vegas for a conference called SEMA, and while the conference was going on that night in our hotel, they filmed the commercial where you see the Formula One car drive through the casino of the Encore Hotel, and it was sick. It was sick to see that, and they also did something in the streets to like hype it up, and everybody was just.
Well, to go back to the blue chip or bust segment here, is what's important about it is they understood the value of the audience, right? And
Correct.
They knew if they could grow it, they knew the advertising dollars would come. Not only did you say the celebrities and all that were there, but I venture to say at that event, you're seeing Ferrari, you're seeing Rolex, you're seeing all these luxury brands,
Big name brands
that are all part of it as well. So those advertising dollars come because the audience is there watching that, right?
Yeah, even there was a crypto coin, big crypto coin company that I think partnered with them too in Miami. I saw that. So
Was it FTX?
I think FTX right now is dealing with some big problems. I don't think it's them.
No, it wasn't them.
But so to jump into this, what they did. Let's jump into what they did to really take them off. And Nate put a dagger in this. It's a docuseries, and how much the docuseries has, how big a docuseries has played in the last 3 to 5 years in these different industries. Now you see on Netflix, you got the PGA one. They did one for tennis. So it's become something where how do we reach your audience? They thought about it. It's like, how do we reach other audiences that don't know us or are not really interested in us or might be interested but never heard of us? So what they did is they first go and they make a docuseries and they put it on what's considered one of the biggest platforms, Netflix. Everybody has Netflix. I know there's people. I know people that have Netflix that are paying for Netflix and they don't even know they're paying for it. So Netflix becomes one of the biggest streams to put these on. The growth is tremendous. I think on season 1 when they launched, their growth of views and from the 35 to under was like a 77% increase in viewers 35 and under on season 1 alone on just Formula One. So they went into an audience which people 35 and under, you usually those people don't have money, right? Because if you think of Formula One and where it comes from, you think about a lot of, like we said, a lot of money. You think about Monaco and all that, Mercedes, Ferrari, all that stuff. You're thinking about a lot of money, and people like, I'll put it this way, people like me, I can't go out there and buy a Ferrari or a Mercedes or well, Mercedes probably, but I don't want to, or a Rolex, but one day I will be. But it's just like 35 and under, they're not interested in it. But now that's been one of the biggest viewers just off of season 1, so it was crazy on that.
So to expand upon it, other ways that docuseries are being done is Ramit, I think it's Ramit Sethi. He, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I believe he now has a docuseries on Netflix where he's going through and going through that. So he started as really a content creator, right? And they've created this influencer, and then you've got other like Mark Evans. So Mark Evans, DM, close friend of mine, buddy of mine. He's actually got a big event coming up, big charity event coming up in June at called the Dealmaker Live. But he actually created he invested in creating his own documentary, not so much a docu-series, but more of a documentary, which was one to be able to tell your story, right? So you can do this you can take what they're doing on a bigger level of docu-series and do that on a personal level in a documentary and kind of create this stuff as well as kind of high production, really good stuff to tell your story. And when you tell it, so the kind of the big lesson behind all this, right? If you own the audience and all that, but it allows you to tell the story that people want to engage with. If you think about the social side, when you're posting and creating content, what story are you telling that's going to attract people to you so they want to continuously tune in?
Correct, Nate. And you were part of you were part of the launch of the documentary there. You were there for the premiere. What would you say being a part of it and just seeing someone so close to you being able to do something like that and have that success of pulling that off?
Well, I think it's cool to see what he went through to do it and to be able to tell the story. So I think there's a lesson in that. But I think more importantly, I think the bigger piece was the visionary side of understanding that, hey, if I create this and this is out there, more and more people start falling upon it, discovering it, watching it, sharing it. And then, or if somebody comes in and here's a podcast of you, and then all of a sudden on that podcast, they go search more and then they see this documentary and all of a sudden people start becoming gravitating toward you, right? And it helps that audience grow and becomes more tighter. It becomes a stronger community of people that want to be around you, right? And that you can influence and grow, help grow.
Do you think you're going to drop one soon?
No.
A lot of work behind it.
No. I mean, I think, I'm not, I think it's really cool what he did. I do know that to do it right, to do it really right, you're $250,000 to $500,000 kind of invested in something like that would be my guess, from talking. But I would say it's a cool feature when the time is right. But you can also do it in a mini segment. You can do it. You can do kind of more of the home. You know, when you're creating stories, you're creating content. Think of how you can tell your story within it, even if it's a 1-minute video. Right? So Docuseries is cool. I'm just trying to relate to it, like how you can leverage this in your everyday audience building and outside of massive Docuseries, right?
Well, yeah, it's you said it. You're building a story, you're building a brand, you're building interest. People find that interesting to see. It's like, how did you come up? How did you do it? If you look at some of the other ones that are out there, like you said, it's like everybody's always starting. A lot of these Docuseries, nobody's always handed. You did a video of this, the silver spoon, when they start these Docuseries, you go through struggles, you go through the fight, and people like seeing that because they can relate. Someone that might be 23, 24 years old might be watching Mark's Docuseries and say, man, I can relate to that. I'm going through that right now, but look where this guy ended up 10 years from now, right? So people relate and they follow it, and it's like, what did he do next? Okay, he's doing this. Can I do something similar to what he did next and what I'm doing? So it's really cool on how that plays off.
Well, that leads into our kind of growth segment, right?
Yeah.
And that being...
But before, I got to give a shout out to Ashton because Ashton did come up. This is Ashton's topic. I'm not going to take credit for it. I know Nate isn't going to either. We got to give the credit to Ashton, which we'll probably jump him in one of these podcasts one days. Cool dude, but he came up with this podcast segment, and it's sometimes you have to create what you want to be a part of. And when he said that to us, actually, he dropped it in the Slack channel that we have for work. We're sitting yesterday in our meeting, and we're like, man, that's actually pretty. It's
true.
That's pretty accurate.
So might have to take the uncommon advice.